Hello. In the previous video, Heena was sucked into the dungeon and suffered from monsters. Then she met a lady who misunderstood her as a plant monster. Heena was stunned to see a person in this wild and became very happy to see a hunter, and excitedly hugged that person. She was relieved that she could be saved, and she didn't have to be scared and cautious all the time. The lady told Heena to calm down and loosen a bit, and she took a step back. Then Heena realized that she was drenched in the swamp, and got dirtier from collecting the grass. The lady guessed that Heena must have been through a lot looking at her appearance. Heena asked if the lady had gotten the boss monster, and the lady told Heena that she had already defeated the boss, and the entire area was in chaos because it got sucked into the gate, but the dungeon itself was only E rank. Heena was shocked that she suffered so much, and the dungeon was only E rank. But she suddenly realized that she awakened as D rank. Then only her skills worked. She got lucky. The lady asked if Heena was a metahuman, and Heena was caught off guard but answered yes, and how she knew. The lady answered as Heena was able to hide, and only metahumans could do that. But she was discovered because of her low rank. The lady becomes suspicious as there are no metahumans on the list of missing persons, and claims that Heena was hiding her abilities and pretending to be a non-metahuman, which is against the law. Heena became flustered as she answered that she had just awakened right before she fell into the dungeon, and she narrated the whole scenario from overtime, working to barely surviving monsters using her skills. The lady believed Heena and asked her which class she had awakened: warrior, mage, paladin, summoner. Heena hesitated a bit, but answered in a small voice that she had awakened as a housekeeper. Heena flushed having to say that aloud, and the lady's eyes widened hearing that unexpected class that she had never heard of it. She asked Heena if being a housekeeper meant managing the household by cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, etc. Right. And Heena could only say yes. Heena guessed that the lady had a laid-back personality, and that she was asking so many questions to the person she had just met, but nevertheless, Heena answered all her questions. The lady again asked Heena about her skills, and Heena told her about making a cozy bed and pluck plant. The lady laughed that her skills were fascinating. While the lady was laughing, Heena heard a sudden voice behind her back. As the man came nearer to them, Will asked the lady what is she doing there, and if they should get out of the dungeon if the rescue operation was over. Heena was startled by the sudden arrival of a handsome man. Heena slowly remembered that the guy was one of the few S-rank hunters in the world. Because he doesn't leave even a trace of the monster behind, he is known as the Destroying Hand, and he is the nation's #1 hunter, Kang Jin-hyun. Not only was he competent, but also extremely good-looking and more famous than any other celebrity. Heena thought that he was good-looking on TV, but he looked better in real life, so much so that Heena was staring at him with her eyes wide open. The lady held Heena by her shoulder and told Kang Jin-hyun to quit nagging. She was only talking to a freshly hatched metahuman, and asked Kang Jin-hyun if he wanted to listen to Heena's story because her class and skills were so interesting. But Kang Jin-hyun flatly refused and said he was not interested in other people's personal information. After that, he started nagging the lady about what is she doing to a newbie who didn't know anything. He shouldn't have expected her to act like the mature, high-ranking hunter, but still, she should have at least basic manners. The lady wanted to argue that she didn't threaten Heena. She just asked her, but Kang Jin-hyun cut off her in the middle and advised Heena that it's dangerous to carelessly disclose one's awakening information and abilities to others. Heena smiled and told them that it was fine, as her rank was low and her abilities were not that great either. The lady became happy instantly that Heena was taking her side. Kang Jin-hyun sighed, but still advised that for her safety, it was better to keep this kind of information a secret, and he walked away. Heena took a note of it. The lady was so frustrated that he was young, but he already acted like an old man. She said sorry to Heena and told her that he was not wrong though, and she was a bit pushy and shouldn't have acted like that. Heena became happy and generously told her that she had saved her, so she could tell her that much, and after telling her, Heena felt better, as she was a bit flustered because of her unusual class. Suddenly the lady caught Heena's shoulder, startling her, and said that she liked her, that how can she talk so sweetly. The lady rambled about that there is not a single person around her who speaks to her in sweet manner. They are all jerks. Heena could only think that this is the way a typical member of society talks. Then the lady gave Heena her business card and told her to call any time. She would treat her to a meal, and Heena could ask her anything regarding awakening. Heena got to know that the lady's name was Woo-Mina. When Woo-Mina asked Heena to go out of the dungeon together, then Heena smiled happily and sincerely thanked her for rescuing her. Woo-Mina smiled and said no problem, and she is so cute that she forgot to ask the most important thing. What's her name? Heena replied that it was Lee Heena, and then they prepared to go out of the dungeon. Outside the gate, rescue teams and ambulances had already arrived. Woo-Mina led Heena to the emergency crew to get examined and to be consulted regarding the disaster damage. After Woo-Mina left, Heena looked at the surroundings. Massaging her shoulder was a bit sore, but when she saw the ruined building, she was stunned. The sight of destroyed surroundings made Heena's knees weak. Heena could only mumble that she didn't think that it could be so bad. When the rescue team member asked if she was all right, she just mumbled that she was fine, but she could only feel the pain of being jobless, plus being homeless too. In this disaster, her house and her workplace both got destroyed by the sudden event. Heena sobbed. She had purposely got a place near work so she could live nearby. She could understand the office was completely blown away, but could not predict that it had taken her house as well. Heena began to curse while pointing to the sky that the damned thieves. What's so special about the gate of a dungeon that destroyed her house? The rescue team members thought that she had hurt her head, but the others said she lost her house. Well, they can completely understand her now because their house too is the soul, and they could not afford to lose it. Heena was so sad and dispirited, walked to the ruined place, slowly thinking that the company that pays her salary was as good as gone. Would she get compensation for her house? She reached the place where her home location was, and reminiscing about her first long-term rental house where she lived with her brother made her teary. She squeezed her lips into thin lines, and then shouted at the sky with all her energy to give back her house, security deposit, and furniture. Then suddenly the system screen flashed. Congratulations! The hidden skill Home Sweet Home rank D has been unlocked. Heena's eyes were drawn to the system screen and checked what is the hidden skill and Home Sweet Home about. The system said that a hidden skill means a skill that appears when certain conditions are met, and a Home Sweet Home is an active skill that provides a home to the user. It was unlocked when awakened. The housekeeper class was homeless and desperately wants a home. Heena found some hope and thought that if it provided a home, then that was more incredible than winning the lottery. But she felt some iffy about it because the condition to unlock it was so sad. But well, she wanted to give it a try because she had nothing to lose anymore. She first checked her left and right because she remembered Kang Jin Hyun's advice when she confirmed that no one was around. Then she called upon the skill Home Sweet Home. A door with a light appeared in the demolished area. Heena quickly peeked behind the door, but nothing was found. It looked like the skill had been activated. She gulped, held the doorknob, opened it, and taking a deep breath went inside. She noticed how foggy it was. As she voiced her doubt if it was a house, then the system screen flashed. Welcome to Home Sweet Home Rank D. The state of the house is automatically adjusted according to the user's abilities. This process may take a bit of time. Heena waited and waited. The system loaded like this when she was awakened too. She complained about, why is the system working so slowly, and anxiously chewed her finger and instantly spit out. She forgot her hands were dirty, and she needed to wash up. The system dinged and announced that the adjustment was completed. Finally, Heena wondered what kind of house she would get. Heena got excited, but a fanfare erupted in front of her eyes at that precise moment. Home Sweet Home. Welcome. A flashy effect surrounded Heena's visual nerve cells. The font and colors were so flamboyant that it almost poked her eyes out. She shut her eyes and struggled to get her eyes to recover. She thought she was going blind. She could still see the sparkles everywhere. When she opened her eyes, the system announced a suitable house was provided according to the user's Home Sweet Home rank. A level 1 old basic studio has been offered to the D rank user. Heena was relieved that a worn-out studio was still better than a public shelter. But what kind of disgusting place is that? Heena was horrified when she saw the state of the house. The wallpaper was yellowed, and the mold was growing in the corners. There were spider webs here and there, and the floor was no different from the dirty ground outside. Heena freaked out because of the state of the house and proceeded to the restroom. She was most concerned with the bathroom. She opened the bathroom door and the stench of pee pierced her nostrils. It smells yuck. It seemed that the bathroom hadn't been cleaned in months. The toilet and sink were yellow. Heena slammed the door and thought a public shelter would be better. The system notification rang out. "Would you like to sign the contract for studio?" Heena was so angry that the system had gone crazy. There was no way she was going to sign it. But the system acted like a realtor, attempting to sell a property. The question reappeared, but Heena demanded to show a different house that the system has no conscience. Then the system acted more shamelessly by removing the no option and asking the same question with only the yes option. It was unbelievable. Heena said no several times, but the system kept giving her the same option. If this act was not shameless enough, the system crossed the boundaries of shamelessness, giving 2 as a yes option. She would have pulled out the system's hair if it were a living soul. However, that was not the case, leaving Heena with only 1 option. Heena signed the contract but felt like she was scammed. The system was satisfied and announced, "Congratulations on the successful contract. We will return with more satisfactory service." Heena sighed and looked on the brighter side. At least it was better than being homeless. The house reeked so much she could try to clean the place up. Suddenly a different color screen flashed, saying congratulations on fulfilling your dream of owning your own home. Heena thought that the system was making fun of her by giving her this awful place. The screen stated that a homeowner's job is to keep the house warm and comfy, a true housekeeper's duty. Inadequate homeowner skill requires much training. Heena couldn't take it anymore. She yelled at the system that what inadequate. She was trying to think positively despite this unfair situation. She was ready to fight the system any time. The screen replied that it was not the system. Suddenly a bug appeared at her foot. It was fairly large in shape. Heena instinctively kicked it and it bounced off the wall. The system announced, automatically activating the active skill pest control rank D. The thing that slammed into the wall was thrown to the ground and struggled to speak. Homeowner. Very violent. Heena realized that it was a snail. After it recovered, the snail reacted to Heena angrily finished analyzing the homeowner's personality. Short-tempered. Violent. Heena expressed her regret and said sorry for thinking of it like a bug. The snail was still angry, hasty habit of hitting things. Terrible personality. Heena argued that it was being too harsh, but the snail was not going to excuse her. Heena thought that it was kind of cute and changed the subject and asked if the snail was the one who congratulated her on getting the house. The snail replied as affirmation. No wonder the shape and color of the status windows were different. Heena deduced that it was not the system and didn't seem like a normal snail. It could talk, and its shell was all shiny. The snail was proud, straightened the antenna, and said that it was very special. It was the home administrator of Home Sweet Home. And he looked forward to Heena's cooperation.